Hello, everyone. Welcome back to ESA Cup Season 5. I'm Uncooked Pasta, and I'm going to be bringing you through the action. Today, we have two games for you this evening. And just before I mention, because you can see them on screen already, I would just like to say that unfortunately, Hotnix is a little bit under the weather today. So while he is still observing and producing, I'm going to be doing this one solo. But starting it out, we have Stark versus Quintex. That's going to be in just a few moments. And then the later game will be Royal versus Team Void by GHR. So let's get into that map veto, shall we? Okay, so this map veto looks like that we are going to be heading to uh, Villa. So we've seen Villa a lot now. I'm just gonna check how many times, but it's certainly been quite a few. So while we head into the lobby, let's just have a look at the statistics here. Villa 13 times picked, nearly, this is the 14th time it has been picked. So that's level with, um, bringing level with Chalet, which is, yeah, we've seen Chalet quite a lot. Villa now as well joining that sort of uh, thing. So let's head into the operator bands now. That's funny. I cannot see them. We love. Okay, perfect. Knock is going to be the first one. That's obviously Stark uh, banning banning her. Obviously, they are starting on that defensive side, and Quintex actually take away Finker. Now, this one I'm a bit less sure about, but I mean, hey, sure, why not? The heals can be quite useful, I suppose. She's obviously no longer as prevalent as we used to see her in the meta. Now, this is a very prevalent operator. Solis, currently the most banned defender inside of Season 5 so far, sitting at about a 50% ban rate, which is way ahead of any other defender, but we might be looking towards a Thunderbird or a Zani Mirror Valkyrie. They tend to be the most common, and it will be Thunderbird. So that rounds out our operator band. Solus obviously does have those the scanner can take away all of your drones and everything. Obviously, we don't want that. And as for Thunderbird, those salvation stations just can be so darn helpful when it comes down to it. And especially if you have a defender that's trying to clutch, can be very, very good just to get those heals, get that extra HP in. So yeah, starting us out on the defense, heading over to Trophy and Statue, which is an interesting decision. I mean, these two top floor sites can be interchangeable as the primary defensive bomb site. AVG does tend to be more popular, but it's not too out of the ordinary to see Team Stark bringing this one as the first. It might also catch Quintex off guard a little bit. Obviously, that sort of strategy is a bit less useful now thanks to the attacker repick inside the prep phase. But hey, it could still get something. They're going to have to try and rejig their plans because they, like me, would have expected to see ESA and Games being the first bomb site out here. So there's not really a lot of early aggression. We're not really seeing anyone go for some sort of spawn peak, although as I say that actually Timo does have a C4 prepped, but no one is over on this fountain side, which means he's just going to have to dip away. It's heavy pressure and aggression, and that means that Wolf is going to have to dip away from the study, because otherwise there's 4 out of the 5 players just circling that position. You have Shota on the Warden as well over on those main stairs, and this is very quick work from Quintex, who are just pushing back these defenders using their drones and presence alone. Barely any shots done. Obviously, Wolf does have a little bit of HP taken away. That's thanks to dashing through the wall. A vertical nade being prepped, but that is going to be Shota just dipping away just in time. C4 out, that's Ollied on the 90 window, falling, but UK does find a trade. That's Shota with a second. Takes out Evil inside a study, and this top main is being held so aggressively by the Warden. Another vertical nade from UK. It does not connect, as that's Timo now to find one. So 2 versus 4, make it a 2 versus 3. That's UK. Another kill downstairs. So 100 seconds left in this round, and it looks like Stark are doing a good job of holding on. It's up to Quintex now to see what their kind of approach is. They might not be aware of Shota inside of the games room, but they are! What a swing from UK. Takes him to, now we're all level, 2 versus 2. And it becomes a lot more scary from Stark. They're going to have to play this waiting game a little bit. Quintex, what will they do? It looks like they've doubled up together. Obviously, you don't want to be taking those 1 versus 1s. It's just to see, will they go through ball, or will they go through landing and into statue? Both of these have been barricaded. That's UK with the sledgehammer opening up over towards this Wolf side. And that's now Stizzy Hexter, the last 2 defenders remaining, trying to see what they can find from this position. They have these defensive angles, and that's Stizzy. Takes out Fago. Means now it's a 1 versus 2. UK left all alone by themselves. Gonna need to ace to clutch this one out. Only 20 seconds to do it. Diffuser is in hand, finds the first, but isn't ready for Hexter on that swing. It got very, very close, but Stark, just in the end, managed to close things out. It got a lot closer than it had any right being, but that Stark 1 round on the board. Well, I mean, for Quintex, a lot of that round was on the back of UK. So, yeah, there wasn't really... It's difficult because they just got completely battered on that entry. It only became when UK was able to come in from the downstairs that anything actually got done. So, we're looking to see more than one player having that impact, because everyone else right now is on 0 kills. So, yeah. Less maybe for UK to do, obviously, if he keeps putting up those numbers and the rest of the team can contribute, then that'd be absolutely massive for Quintex. But as of right now, there wasn't a lot of promise inside that round. Obviously, it's only 1 round, so we cannot really delve on it too much, but it just seemed like they just weren't really aware of the positions of the defenders, weren't quite ready for that utility that was going to come through. And there was a bit of, not a reluctance, but an oversight when it came to checking the positions of people that were, say, flanking. I don't know whether they had a flank drone or not, but clearly the flank drone wasn't doing its job properly. So, yeah, a lot of things to work on for this round, and that's certainly a good start. That's going to be a nade kill from Yummy, and that takes down Stizzy, who was able to find a kill in that previous round, don't forget. which means that early on it's now Stark fighting from this disadvantage. They just don't know that Shota's there, which means that's just a free pick, able to get away unscathed, and that's now Stark able to breathe a bit of a sigh of relief. They're going to have more pressure that they can apply to the attackers, and that's just going to make Quintex just slow down, make sure that they have everything fully droned out, make sure they know the positions of all the defenders, and while that happens, that clock is going to be ticking down. Almost already halfway through this round, and it seems like Quintex have just been halted by that aggression, by that off angle that Shota was holding. So now, what can be done? Ollie is going to try and be driving force on the Twitch, takes out Wolf, which makes it yet again another man disadvantage for Stark, as now UK is pushing up these main stairs as well. They're all grouped together by this study, but Hexter again, it's another trade, but this time it's Timo, and Hexter again, it's a 1 versus 3 now for Ollie, has to have it all on his own and cannot claim a single kill after. Stark yet again proving to just be that team that can collapse, that can just get up in the faces of those attackers. And I mean, that's basically it. That's all you need to do, because Quintex again just had a little bit of a falter, and then everything just crumbled after that. Tertiary bomb site now, though, from the kitchen and dining. So this is where, because obviously you kind of expect the defenders to win on those top 2 floors, especially on a map like Villa. So, this isn't entirely unexpected. I'm just going to check the statistics really quick. Yeah, about 60% of rounds are won by the defense. Actually, it's a bit closer to 59%, but that means that the standard defensive rotation of a 4-2 defensive half is quite standard. You have 2 good sites on that top floor, namely AVG and Trophy Statuary, and then you have this tertiary site, Kitchen Dining, which is quite often won by the attackers. And then Living Library, just don't worry about it, because that never gets played. Early C4 out from Timo. Nothing garnered, in fact, it's just a bit of utility. It's now taken out of the line. Stevie does still have a C4 as well, though, so that isn't entirely wasted. But it's certainly useful plant denial and late round utility that is not going to be available for Stark to use in those final moments. And yet again, we're seeing Quintex applying that pressure to not quite the site, but certainly very adjacent. And in those previous 2 rounds, we saw that pressure being applied to the study. This time, it is over on master bedroom. Obviously, this is the area above kitchen and dining, so it's very useful for the defenders and attackers to have under their control. Frostmat destroyed from Evil as they take that hop on through. But it's just a waiting game at the minute. That's Evil finding the first. Stizzy getting a bit too aggressive. UK, though, downed. And Timo finds a headshot onto Evil. And that's a Frostmat that's done him in. Which means it's going to be a difficult position now for Quintex. They're going to have to try and get that revive on the inside while they have these defensive guns pointing in their direction. Timo and Wolf still up here on the top floor. And it's just a waiting game. Shota does find another as well. Dipping down through the basement, I think that was possibly through a rotate. I'm not entirely sure. What I am sure about is that Yummy did get that one. UK picked back up as well, only on 20 HP, but that's still enough to shoot a gun. And it's going to be whether Ollie is aware of Timo. Yes, he is. And that's going to be the kill. Stark in disadvantage. Oh no, the cap can trap. Those EDDs go boom, and that's going to be the end of UK's existence inside of this round. Not another, surely. And now Ollie is again left to clutch in this situation. Stark might just squeak this one by. Just through the gaps of their fingers, this is slipping away from Quintex. How shots are nearly fully whiffed that. But it's a 3-0 lead. Flawless start to this half. As Stark look to just complete their rotation, they're just going to be able to smooth sailing, just, 5-1, easy stuff. Unless Quintex can put a bit of a disruption to their plans, we'll have to see. Again, back to trophy stat tree. Doesn't look like we're going to go to Living Library anytime soon. I sincerely hope that we do, but can't always have everything that you want. So, for Quintex, they've now learned. They've learned how Stark are going to possibly try and defend this. We're seeing a similar sort of setup from that defensive side. So it's now up to Quintex to adapt. Obviously, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So Stark are just going to complete and keep doing the exact same thing. This time, Shotta is on that Warden yet again. And might find a kill here on the spawn peak. It looks like they're aware of his position, though. Yami and UK and Olid as well just trained in on that position. And that means no kill for the Warden just yet in this round. Obviously still lurking about downstairs. Does have that opportunity to spring up later when Quintex least expect it. Which is going to be sort of the primary focus here. Let's see, are they going to go for the swing? Indeed they do! Finds a kill onto Yami. That's not one that should be happening at all. UK does find the trade though, which means impact minimal. However, elsewhere, Stizzy does find that trade onto UK through the wall, I think that was. Possibly using that impact. No. Okay, that's unfortunate. Well, you win some, you lose some, and for UK, definitely lost that one. Evil, though, doesn't lose against Hexter. And looking for possibly a second onto the Azami of Stizzy, who is just in a very tough spot. The Kiba barrier doesn't land on the pillar, instead hitting the floor. And that's a bit of a waste of utility, wasted potential for the defenders, because those Kiba barriers are such useful utility. And to see them go just flat on the floor like that is unfortunate. The rotate is opened up though. Wolf nearly hits that, but not quite. We've got a minute left to go. It looks like Quintex might have just stalled out a little bit. Fago is still outside the map on that bottom floor. We hit just a bit of a calm period. The calm before the storm. The eye of the hurricane, if you will. Because Fago is now lurking about downstairs. Doesn't manage to find one onto Timo. That's the position known. Default camera spots him out as well. As Olid now comes under pressure. Wolf does take the swing. SMG-11 in hand, but doesn't quite find it. C4 out, but nothing gained. Stizzy, though, does take down Evil, which is going to force Fago into action up those Astro stairs. Stizzy is looking for the kill, but it's Timo that takes down Fago. All eyes now on Ollie, and this looks like it might be a 4-0 half. There's no time. There's no players for Quintex to really do anything, and now there is no round to play for. It's 4 rounds to 0 for the side of Stark, and they look very, very strong heading into what might be one of the quickest games we've had. And you wouldn't necessarily expect this. Stark, they are in 5th, but Quintex are actually below them, only by 1 point. So it's a lot to play for, but the round differential does tell a different story. Stark have a +0, whereas Quintex have a -16. That's not including this game where they're already 4 rounds down. Let's see, they've had a lot of close games of Stark. We've got an 8-7, a 7-4, 7-4, 7-2, but that was a victory against the Empire. And then for Quintex, it's the other way. 8-6 loss, 7-5 victory, and then 7-5 loss, 7-0 loss against Misclick. That's not going to help. And a 7-0 against Entropy as well. So yeah, that's not great. And they might be on track for another. I know it's unfortunate saying that, but they've had 2 weeks in a row, week 4 and week 5, where they've had that unfortunate circumstance of not winning a round. And it looks like it might continue here for another while. No one's spawning over on the fountain side, so Shotter finds no impact on that spawn peak. Obviously, nothing really lost for Stark either. And Yami has taken a bit of HP away, but that's from a different engagement altogether. Wolf spawn peaking with the SMG-11. And this is confidence now from Stark. This is showing Quintex that they know what they're about, that we can win no matter what. And it's certainly going to be playing into that mental. UK only 1 kill since that first round. Oh, and it's scrappy. Stizzy managing to get away with their life as Wolf also dips away up that top floor. It looks like Stizzy might be going for some sort of off angle. Shotter now here to assist as well. UK is kind of hemmed in into this kitchen dining area. That's not great considering the site is Aviator and Games upstairs. So where does the push come now? Timo does take a bit of heat, a bit of damage, but again, there's not really any impact from that Quintex are having in this round. As I say that though, Hexter does manage to Hexter does get killed. That's Evil managing to take them down from the 90 corridor, but it's shot through the floor, peppered up. And that's actually a kill. Oh, it might have been through the drone hole, as that's Shoto as well that finds another. It's a 2 versus 4. UK does manage to find one back. At least lowers that advantage that Stark have in the player count. But, you know, this is 5-0 cooling for Stark. UK is going to try and prevent that, though. Lovely pre-fire onto Stizzy. And now Fago, yet to find impact to see what they can do here. It's going to open up that wall. Diffuser, though, is not in their hands. It's elsewhere. I think still in 90. This is a lovely C4. Takes out Fago. UK again in a clutch situation. Gets nothing done. That's Shoto with that T5. And Stark continuing to be dominant yet again. So, this is it. I said it before, but I'll say it again. This is basically unrecoverable now for Quintex. In fact, we've had their 7-0s have both been... Oh no, okay. One of them they started attack, one of them they started defense, but no, their attacks haven't been great, and we've seen that they can't defend on bank very well, which is not great. 7-5 loss. That was on Villa. However, it was a 4-2 defending half for Quintex, but then Eagle Empire did win a 5-1 against them. So maybe it might be a similar sort of situation here, just in reverse. We do need to see this round going their way, because if it's 6-0, then I'd say that 7-0 is very likely. So we'll just have to see. Now, we started this game late, but it might be one of the shortest we've had. C4 out again. Timo going for this opening, but nothing coming from it. It just sort of ever. I don't think we've seen anyone be damaged by it in a single round. So, what can they do? What can they do? I don't know if it's going to be much. They are pressuring over from study this time, not going for that master take like they did in round number 3, the last time that they attacked onto this bomb site. UK with a kill through the wall, the drone just feeding valuable information. For a second, I thought that was through the floor, and I was very confused. But no, UK was inside of study. That's a good start for Quintex, but Timo is yet again that answering force. Hexter does find one as well, but both Hexter and Timo are downed, which means they're not going to be able to find any more impact in this round. Stizzy and Wolf, these last two remaining. Stizzy, though, is on the pulse, does have that scanner. Shotgun in hand as well as a C4, which means that a lot of impact can be had, especially when it comes to that vertical play that we're going to see UK start to bring along. That sledgehammer battering down on that soft floor above. And Fago on the IQ is an effective counter to Pulse, really. It's still going to be a tough position. Quintex, they can't let time get the better of them either. It looks like they've abandoned the site completely. Have Stark. And there's the shotgun coming through. Oh, the kill isn't found. Eventually it is, but it's a scrappy gunfight from Stizzy that he's able to win. Wolf is on these red stairs, and they just don't even know. Ollie goes down. UK, I'm going to have to say it again in a 1 versus 2. I think this is the 3rd time UK has been the last player alive, possibly even the 4th in this half. Inside the laundry, 30 seconds left is enough to get this plant down. Does spot the rotation from Stizzy as well. It does need to be aware that Wolf could be pressuring from that memorial side. Has to just dip and weave and get out of dodge. Looks like this is going to be a 6th round on the board for Stark, as this time at going down. UK not really doing anything to prevent that, to try and get that diffuser down. It's a triple kill, and Wolf just needs to stay hidden. Flawless half for Stark, and possibility for a flawless game. And at least 20 rounds lost in a row now for Quintex. Possibly even more, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure how what the situation was in their 7-5 loss to Eagle Empire, because okay, it's at least 21 rounds in a row, might be even more, and possibility to make this 22 from Stark. All they need is one attack, and they close it out. Odds incredibly in their favour, but we saw a 6-0 half from Stark. This is going to be a defender-sided villa no matter what. So let's face it, Quintex might have a similar streak of luck. UK 10-5. Only just not the best player in the lobby, just being outshined by Timo, who's having a heater of a game. 11 kills in 6 rounds is nothing to scoff at, nor is 10, to be fair. But the rest of the team combined for 8 kills. And that's where the problems lie. Because for Stark, you've got Shoto, who has also 8 kills. That one player alone is totaling the rest of the team other than UK. In fact, just Shoto and Timo is beating the number of kills. The entirety of Quintex. So that right there is the issue. And Stark are nearly going to have to forfeit this game. Let's not forget, they're only able to get this emergency sub in, who I think is actually Shoto, at the last minute. And the pressure is coming through. Timo finds the opener yet again. Whiffs the default, but you know, as long as you can click on players, that's fine. Trade goes out, but Wolf and Timo double down. That's a 2 versus 4 now. UK has to have the team on his shoulders once again. That's Yami taken out as well. It's just a collapse at that point. Hex to close it out. It's 7-0. At least 22 rounds lost in a row for Quintex is not the way that they want the end of this season to be going for them. We're in week 6 as only next week for these teams. And that's it done. At this point, Stark go up to 8 points, so they're still able to chase down a playoff spot. But for the rest of the teams, Quintex, Royal, and Team Avoid, all three of those do not have a chance for playoffs. Quintex, if they could win here, did keep their chances alive. But that's it. The other three, absolutely zero chance. So that's our first game for Group C. We're going to have possibly a little bit of a longer break than normal, just because of how quick this game was. So we're going to chuck it to a break. And when we come back, or when I come back, we'll break it down for Royal versus Team Avoid by GHR. We'll see you in a few. Welcome back, everybody. We're here for game number 2, Royal versus Team Avoid by GHR Esports. And we had, for Group C, we had 5th and 6th playing. 5th place versus 6th place. And for this game, we have 7th place versus 8th place. Avoid are on 0 points, and Royal are on 2. So this game doesn't really have much in it. Royal, though, do still have a possibility of getting 9 points. So everything is still to play for. They do have a chance at that playoff spot, obviously, because their game versus Stark was had to be rescheduled for another time. Group C, very much still up in the air. Obviously, Avoid can play spoiler to this entire thing. It all just depends on what Royal can do with it. So let's have a look at the map veto. Looking specifically at this game, we will be going to Chalet. Royal take out Sky, Theme, Bank, and Border, and Avoid to take out Clubhouse, Oregon, Villa, and Cafe. Last of all, and that means Royal, they pick to start on that defensive side. Avoid get the attack. And that once again brings Chalet up to being the most played map in Season 5. This is the 15th time that we're seeing it inside of the group stage, which is a lot. It certainly is a lot. So we'll just have to see whether these teams have learned anything. A total of 152 rounds, of which about 53% have been won by the attack, with 47 being won by the defense. That's an 80 to 72 split. So Royal choosing to start on the defense is an interesting choice, to say the least. Being that this map, historically, inside of Season 5, is attacker-sided, but only just. So, we are just waiting for one player to join the lobby. So, yeah. It's just a bit of a waiting game. Royal, yeah, they still have a possibility of 9 more points to find. Which means they could have, in total, 11 points, and that's currently beating Entropy, who are in third place on 10. So, while Quintex are out of the running, as well as Team Void, Royal still have very much to play for. All does come down to this. So, with Eagle Empire on 9 points, it's gonna be close with this group. Obviously, for Royal, they still have to play Misclick, who are on an unbeaten record so far, and then Stark, who also sit above them. They're in 5th place as of right now. So, doesn't necessarily look great, but their one win is actually an overtime win to Quintex, who also sit above them in the standings. For a Void, it's a bit more of a sorry affair. It's a 2-7 loss to Eagle Empire in week 1, 7-5 loss to Quintex in week 2, a 7-1 loss to E-Wave in week 3, a 7-1 loss to Entropy in week 4, a 7-1 loss to Team Misclick in week 5, and then coming into week 6, they've only won 10 rounds in total across the season so far, and half of those were in one match, and they still didn't get the win there. So the writing might be on the wall for this one already. Still waiting for a player to join. I don't really have anything to say. It's just it looks like we're having some internet connection issues. But when we get things sorted, we'll be right back with things. I'm going to toss it to a little break, but when we come back, we'll jump right into the action on Chalet. So don't miss it. It'll be just a couple minutes. everyone! We're here into Chalet. Just had a couple of internet issues for one of the players, but hopefully that's all sorted out. And we have a game ready for us to delve into. The most popular map inside of Season 5 is Royal, who have this opening ban. It's gonna be Osa. Okay, Osa makes sense. So shields, the talent 8 shields can just be so hindrance. We've seen this is the 10th time we've seen her banned, so about 15% of the time around that sort of area. So not the most popular, but still fairly high, and we do see her a lot when she isn't banned, especially on this map. Nock continuing to be that most banned attacker, now the 30th time we've seen her banned out. 3 times as many as Osa. As Avoid now have the first defensive ban. Interesting things to note that Thatcher is left on the board, as well as operators like Jackal, like Flores, like Ying even. And we've seen some Amaru bans, some Dokubi bans, some Thermite bans as well, obviously a lot rarer. Oryx being taken out though, not a very common one, but it does make sense. A lot of opportunities for flanks. And Solace continuing to be that most banned defender, 36 times being taken out of play. And it makes sense why. You've got the scanner, like we touched on last game, can see all of your electronics. So if you're watching a flank drone, you're not anymore. Also, interesting thing to note that Brava is also left on the board. Possible to be used, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, about the rule book. So, a lot of things to note that are interesting. However, we're not going to see a Brava being brought just yet. Obviously, the attackers do have that attacker repick should they wish to utilize it. As we're heading down to the basement, it seems like Royal on the defense. Nothing too out of the ordinary in their composition. We do have an Aruni who necessarily isn't the most often commonly picked defender, but still has a lot of use. DMR is very strong, has those open rotates and lines of sight with the melee. It's a passive ability that you can use, as well as those Cellugates deny utility, deny entry into a bomb site, or if they don't, then they can deal damage. It looks like, though, that Avoid have completely changed things up. We've only seen the Dokubi stay. Instead, Flowels is bringing along a Glaz. It looks like they're going to go for a very quick push on to that main breach, and indeed they are. Mephisto. There's only a mute jammer to get rid of that wall, but the impact EMP comes out from Hypnose, and here we go. Smoke grenades go in ADS's catch, but the plant starts to go down. Invisin left in that situation, but the Glaz for cover. Candela's as well. The Ying just rushes in. That's Mr. Bucks with the opener. Very quick aggression coming through right off the bat, and that's a double for Mr. Bucks. Can't make it a triple, caught out by the SMG-11 of LQ, but there's about 20 seconds left on that clock, and the Glaz can still look for this cover. That's Maxi going down. Boresh and LQ now left to clutch in the situation. It looks nigh on impossible. They're not even able to get that one. Flowers a double kill as Boresh now in this clutch situation. Misses the rotation of the player. DMR does find it and goes for that revive. Only 7 seconds left on the clock. There's not enough time, and Hypnose shuts it out anyway. Double to finish things out, and that's Avoid getting their very first round, and this might be a new look team that we're not prepared for, because maybe Royal wouldn't be prepared for it either, because if Avoid win this in regulation, Royal are out. They cannot progress to the playoffs. However, if they lose in overtime even, they are still able to try and reach those playoff spots. It's going to be very close though. And when you've got a plan like that, beautiful set piece from a void, it's going to be very difficult to combat that. That was absolutely perfectly executed. It's just to see whether they can continue that. Obviously, breaking the trend that we've seen, they tend to not do that well. But that round was a bit of a lease of life that we saw. This might be similar to their game against Quintex. Obviously, Quintex did end up winning that one in the end on Theme Park. But it certainly was very, very impressive from the get-go. Back down to the basement now. Royal bring along a similar lineup. LQ instead bring along a Warden to try and counter that play, but it looks like the Void are just going to go for a more standard run of things. That set piece was beautiful, worked out well, but that's not really something you can go for a second time. Team Avoid looking like they're going for a much more standard approach. We've seen, especially recently, this northern side of the map be a much greater vantage point that the attackers like to go for, attacking onto Wine. Because that's Flowers who finds the first. iFoot does get a trade. That's up in the kitchen. And now a possible flank that they need to be aware of, the attack, is the Thunderbird up on that top floor. And really, they can't go for a plant if they don't have control of the hatch. Invisin is just going to go for a swing, takes out Spraxy. And this is a sloppy-looking avoid. The Flores drone just going to claim that one in the end, but without that mid-floor control, they cannot go for a plant here behind Pillar. They're going to have to push deeper. And this hatch is such a good retake position for Royal in the end round. Still half the round yet to go. So plenty of options. As the breach gets opened up, iFoot just goes to look for that angle. As now the attackers start swarming up here on the upstairs. Maxi finds Mephisto, though, on the bomb site. That means it's just these top floor attackers. Flowers connects. Triple on the round. Still a minute left to go, but with Flowers on such low HP, it's going to be difficult. It's all going to be on Mr. Bucks. Did find two, I believe, in that first round. Mr. Bucks is in the bomb site and finds the mute. That's Baresh. And that means that this plant can start to go down. And Flowers to cover. Maxi in a clutch 1v1 now that this diffuser's going down, and that's the kill. Mr. Bucks now needs to swing, but can't get it done. Maxi, an impressive 1v2, plays it perfectly. And that's going to be us level 1 round apiece. Avoid had a good plan, but just could not find things. Just couldn't find it. That time around, heading up now to the top floor. Royal might just have that momentum building on the back of them. We've seen 7-1 results that, for the teams that are facing a void, and well, it's certainly still on the cards. I just, based on that round number 2, I don't think it will be that way. I reckon this will be a very close game. Like I said, top floor coming out now from Royal. a sight we don't often see, but appears to be favoured here. Usually you'll see the basement and the 2 mid floors. It's not often that the defense actually opts to go for the top floor for quite good reason. It's very easily attackable. Obviously, there's no excuse me, there's no possibility for any sort of vertical play that the other sites rely on, which means you just have to sort of be bunkered on site. You maybe have one player solar and bathroom, and then a couple players like mezzanine and library area, but that's about it. And it's going to be Maxi who's applying this pressure on that southwestern side, using those keeper barriers to create a fortified position. But it looks like a Void are saying no dice to that. Instead, they're just focusing more on this Solarium side, the northern side of the map, looking to possibly get a master plant. Got some vertical nades coming through as well, and they might just connect onto the smoke. LQ down so low. And now just has to fall back as it's Ifot who finds the first on as Malusi out here on Solarium. Dipping away now. The keeper barrier just blocks off that balcony angle. Very well played, as Ifot now might be the recipient of a vertical nade, but instead just manages to dodge it. Now reinforcements as well as Maxi comes to join. And a Void are just stalling out here. They don't really know what to go for. They might just try and take a swing at this point. Hypnos takes a bit of damage as well, possibly from the Toxic Babe. And Ifot might just be on a collision course with, I think it's Spraxi at the top of the Solarium, as LQ tries to pre-fire but can't find anything. Just on a single lick of health. There's nothing that can be done about it. It's a complete standstill. Mephisto just debating whether to use that Selma charge on the solar wall, instead decides against it. They need to be aware of Viper's position though inside the bathroom. Spots out Spraxi, the pre-fire, can't find anything. They now know the position. Impact grenade doesn't find a thing. Mr. Bucks and now Hypnos as well makes it a 4 versus 2 as Baresh and Maxi try to hold on. The player in bathroom spotted, but the plant can now be stuck. It's indeed Mephisto getting that one down. No C4, impact grenades for Maxi, but just can't even get close enough. Which means it's going to need to be a retake. Baresh not aware of Mr. Bucks' position. Maxi finds one, but that's all he will get. Mephisto locks it down. Avoid, break the curse. They have 2 rounds. Royal like to run these bomb sites back, it seems, as we head to that top floor yet again. And it seems like maybe this back and forth pattern might continue. Avoid though do need to get something going. Obviously, Chalet is got a bit of a 50-50 map, so there is definitely some wriggle room, even with a 2-4. But you want to be getting as many rounds as you can. Help that round diff. Although Avoid is not possible to get anywhere close to the playoffs, but beats brownie points. It's confidence, it's self-worth, and it's just feeling a little bit better about your performance, because going down 0-0-0 and 7 while it might be cool and haha, James Bond, but that's not the kind of 007 that you want. A regulation win here would be huge, and it would be crucial for how this plays out. I thought does find the first. Takes out Mr. Bucks, who has been huge, but it's a lovely trade. Flowers with a nade. Absolutely stepped up on Chalet so far. 5-4. What is that? It's a play to be made, and a play that is gained from the Azami. Is now 1 minute fallen by the wayside. And a void in that disadvantage. The timer constantly ticking down as well. And it's slow progress across the top floor. And Envision is downstairs as well. Does have C4 in pocket. Could find a vertical kill if it comes down to that. Mephisto does still have some hard breach. That hopefully should be that main wall being opened up. And the yellow ping, not quite there. But the C4 does connect anyway. 2 versus 4, make it a 1 versus 4. That's a triple for iFoot. And Spraxy, what can you do in this situation? My guess is going to be a whole load of not much. Plenty of time on the clock, but not enough plenty of lives to do it with. Avoid are going to be losing this round. At least it's a consolation kill. Buffer that KD for Spraxy. Envision goes aggressive. But just heals back up. The Thunderbird. This is the reason why we saw her banned in that previous map. Still a 1 versus 3 now. That round timer continuing to be that extra player that the defense need to help secure this round. Spraxy can't just afford to wait on these angles forever. Spots the player on top of the piano. Knows that there's 2 out there. Doesn't even have diffuser in pocket. Has to go the other way. An explosion goes out. It's a nitro cell, but nothing found. And at this point, it's basically a round for Royal. I mean, it looked that way anyway, but this is just a confirmation. No time to get anything done as that timer just goes down. It's a shotgun swing that finishes things out. Royal bring us level once again. It's 2 rounds to 2. Basement is available again for Royal, but I think they knew they got a little bit lucky the previous time. So bar gaming. So to bar gaming we go. We're seeing Mira being brought along, Frost as well. Obviously this bomb site where we first started to see Frost come into her own again. Because Frost used to never be touched, and then this bomb site kind of changed that. And it's this very bomb site and these very mats that you see in front of you. Holding down the library makes it so you can either try and go for a gunfight, or you have to look at the floor below you, means that you don't have your gun up if anyone's going to try and swing you off the back of it. Or obviously you can use a grenade, but that is a waste of utility. It looks like it's going to be a heavy rush through the garage. Spraxy just getting ready to open up that wall. Just waiting for go time. Mephisto is going to be the one that's calling that. Obviously, is the only player not there. Using the LMG just to create a bit extra pressure. And Avoider just waiting. Wedging for Mephisto to give that go signal. And in it goes. Very, very quick, the fire from the Capitao. Dealing a lot of damage to LQ as the Maverick now starts to open up split. Some missed shots from Spraxy, though, means that Royal still stay alive in this 5v5. Baresh was able just to get out of dodge and dip and weave away. But now that's an important position for the defenders, now surrendered. As Void look to regroup up to that top floor. Spraxy claiming the life of Maxi. And it looks like Flawless might be the one to claim that one. Yeah, just confirms the kill, Baresh. What an angle through the Maverick holes. Takes out the Spraxy, who was already low. But just does need to be aware of it. Obviously, other players can reclaim that position. Means they can't challenge onto the window as well. The Nitro comes out, and there's a bit of a whiffed cover from Mr. Bucks. Leads to the death of Mephisto. And now Diffuser's in such an awkward position. The objective play not working out from a Void. As Royal sit in this player advantage. Bomb site control, a lot of map control. And the information game kind of lacking from a Void as well. Hypnos does go for that swing, downs Invisin. That means i4 needs to turn face about face, and indeed he does. Still manages to find the swing onto Flawless. But it's now a 2 versus 2 as Mr. Bucks finds one as well. It was an effective 1 versus 2 for LQ. But picks that player back up the smoke. It's not really safe enough to go for a plant. Mr. Bucks is going to try it. He needs to be aware that there's plenty of angles. That hatch being being reinforced, though, is going to mean a lot. It means that this only angle that the defenders could go through was the bar. Well read by the attack, as now Invisin tries to open up some of this vertical. Shotgun spray just clips Mr. Bucks a little bit. The SMG-11 shots do a bit of chip damage, but in the end go wide. Flawless now taking a lot of heat, takes out LQ, and now Invisin 1 versus 2. Not much to do in this situation. Has to just hide behind the half wall. There's only 8 seconds until he has to defuse, but doesn't even get there. Dies anyway. Avoid. Once again reclaim this lead. 3 rounds to 2, but the question is, where will Royal go next? Will they replay Bar Gaming? And if so, will they win it again? It looks like they will be. Will we see this pattern continue? That's the question. So, similar setup. We're seeing some roles being shifted around for Royal, but I believe the comp is the same. For a Void, though, going for something a little bit different. Ying was floated, but now over to the sledge. And Hibana as well, instead of the ace. They've recognized this bomb site. This time, they're hoping to break that pattern. Get that 4-2 half. Be in control, in command, in the lead. Properly with a 2-round advantage. Something that we haven't seen. We haven't even seen any of these teams win 2 rounds in a row. And it's quick. Especially from Flawless. Pushing along this top floor. Spraxy is there to give cover in the trade. Mr. Bucks as well, providing pressure. That's the sledge, making sure that those library stairs cannot be contended, however. This is something to be aware of. Or rather, should I say someone I thought could be going for this flank. An aid comes through, ADS. Catches both of them. It's now only 2 grenades in pocket. And that is flawless with those. And I thought still not looked at. They do have a Nomad. So the air jabs are that deterrence. Means that I4 just has to rotate back to the bomb site. And Hypnos just hops on that drone. It's a very slow attack though from a Void. Toxic Babe canisters start to come out. But Royal can just sit pretty here. They're not necessarily being pressured from anywhere. You've still got this shield top library. And there's no vertical pressure onto the site at all. Mr. Bucks is down below, I believe. Possibly in the basement, might come up and try to do something up the blue stairs, but it's going to be tough as that's Mephisto going through the main door. Spotted out by I4. And that's Diffuser as well. Really not what you want if you're a Void, and it looks like the pattern might continue. The trend continues to go the same way as that's I4 with a double. Now inside a fireplace. The Void have really messed this round up. They've only got 20 seconds. The shield top library is still there. Flawless does find one, but they've got to contend with the mirror window. They've got to contend with 2 shields. It's just not to be. I thought with 3 inside of that round, and it's an equal half. That's a catastrophic round from Team Avoid. Avoid now on their defense. Need to do better than Royal did, at least a 4-2 half. Oh, 4 rounds is all they need to claim all 3 points. Same for Royal though. 4 attacks. And they still have a chance at playoffs. It's when it becomes that overtime territory that things begin to get a little bit more worrisome. Technically, Royal only need 6 rounds in this game to keep their chances at playoffs alive. But then they would need 6 points total to just tie with Eagle Empire, who are on 9 points currently. Eagle Empire still have another game to go as well. So it's tough. Royal need every point in every round they can get as well, with a -12 round diff. That could be the difference maker for this entire game. For the entire season that they could or could not have after this group stage. But let's not worry about that now, because we have a round to get into. 3rd time in a row we're seeing Bar and Gaming. This time we have a new set of faces in those defensive positions. Mephisto bringing along a Legion. Not the most common pick, and for quite good reason. His gadget isn't that great. The T5 is quite useful, but Maxi gonna shut him down anyway. Tried to go for the flank up those west main stairs, but not to be, unfortunately. I thought Not able to hop in just due to that Kiba barrier. There's a Frost mat as well they need to be careful of. Mr. Bucks tried to go for that swing. It's not to be. Vertical being opened up now as the flashbangs come through. That's going to be more pressure applied to this top floor position, but I thought, again, just not able to actually capitalize on that pressure. Invisin with those Flores drones as well, trying to make this an awkward position for Mr. Bucks, but it's actually Spraxy who finds a kill on those blue stairs. Has to dip away because of the flash, but Flawless and Mr. Bucks are still up on this top floor. I thought peppering shots in once again as Spraxy reclaims this position. It's a difficult circumstance. LQ though might make it a bit easier, traded out by Flawless. So again, we're in a 3 versus 3, make it a 2 versus 3. As that's Invisin with the swing. It's trades back and forth, and that results in Hypnos left in a 1 versus 2 situation. No trade to be found this time, which means 2 players are there. Spotted out on the drone as well. Reload has to come through on the SMG-11. Hypnos has to dodge the flash. They know that the Nomad's there, but they whiff the shot. Invisin goes for the drop and the plant as well. Shotgun comes through, but it doesn't connect. It does there, though. Baresh taken out. It's now a 1 versus 1, and Hypno clutches it. Means the Voids continue that trend, the back and forth rounds, the back and forth pattern. Especially that we saw inside of this round. As Hypnos, the shining light for a Void inside round number 7, claiming 2 of those kills in those final moments. And this could be the start of a fruitful defensive half. You don't necessarily have... We can't necessarily know that, is what I'm trying to say. Because obviously we've seen the rounds go back and forth. It could yet continue into this half. Avoid, take us down to the basement. It's going to have to be a pretty good defense here. You've got a prevention of a rush. You can see Mr. Bucks bringing along the Goyo. And that means that main breach, they can't rush through. And the nade that comes through, if it does, we'll pop that off first. So that might necessarily be the plan. That certainly was not going to be part of it. Flawless taken out almost immediately. Invisin finding that kill on the west main area. As now the breach does start to come through from LQ. There's going to be a 20-second countdown where the attack cannot progress through that. But it's Mexi to find another. And this looks like that pattern may just continue for another round. Spraxy now getting aggressive next up to the plate. And they know that that Vigil static is going to be on their screens as well. They know that they're going to be playing around that area. It's just whether they necessarily know where, and indeed they do not. Spraxy going to try to go for a second, but can't. I thought locks it down. It's a 2 versus 4 now. Just Hypnos and Mr. Bucks to hold on. They've certainly been strong players in the past. It's just whether they can do it again here. No, they cannot. Maxi and I thought, shut it down. And again, we're back even. 4 rounds apiece. Avoid. Where did it go? Back down to the basement we go then. It's a different tactic. No longer bringing the Goyo. Instead, Mr. Buck's opting for the Kaid. Mephisto on the Mozzie as well, looking to deny that information that the attackers might bring along with those drones. Spraxy yet again on the Vigil, and I think the opening engagement, or the opening engagements, should I say, were a big part in that round because almost immediately Avoid were in a 3 versus 5 disadvantage. And that's certainly not going to help them by any means. So, Flawless might even be able to get the opening pick this time. Possibly a bit more wary about that west main position. Spraxy does spot the drone coming through. But the drone does spot him. There's no ERC7 that comes through, which means the drone will live another day as well. Spots out Flawless inside of the kitchen. Still in the 5 versus 5 though, almost a minute gone. As I say that though, it's Hypnos who finds the first. That's Maxi going down. This time, Avoid have that opening pick. They have that final say, or initial say, rather. That is going to be huge. Hypnos does get a lot of damage, down to exactly 50 HP. So just take a swing from a player onto the breach. So we have I4 on the buck, does not have any hard breaches, so that capability is all down to LQ. However, still has a gun in hand. Might be able to find something on this wine cellar side. With no Runegate, he can just come right in. I don't even know if they know he's there. No, Invision does find that one. The skeleton key comes out, but it's Invision to find at least the finisher. And that's a Void now in a disadvantage. Bomb site control in the hands of Royal as well. It's going to have to be a retake of some form. Mephisto does have eyes on the breach, but Diffuser rotating around to trench to wine cellar to get that plant down in a safe position. Mephisto going for the rotate. Oh, but they're not aware of the hatch! That's poorly played, and Spraxy down the blue stairs finds one advantage back in the hands of a Void. 40 seconds as I thought does trade. 2 versus 2. Diffuser still in sight of the defense, though. This could be huge, and there it is. Mephisto with a double kill at the end there. Locks it down for a Void. That's going to be just lining up in the most unfortunate way. 5 rounds to 4, a Void. Just 1 round away from getting their first point of Season 5. It's never too late to get points until it's over. And that is what a Void could possibly prove here. Because it is not over just yet. Both of these teams still have an opportunity to collect 3 points here. Royal still have a chance at getting to playoffs. It is all still very much on the cards. Just depends on how these next few rounds go. Back to bargaining now. Avoid. They've won 2 defenses. Just one more, they'll have equaled Royal's record. 2 more, and they win this game in regulation, denying playoffs for Royal, which would be huge. But that's all ifs, buts, and maybes. What we need is the absolutes, and that'll only come during the action phase. It started now, but well, you're not going to get a lot of action in those first few seconds. No one's really gone from spawn peak. However, Spraxy, it's the opposite side of the map from the bomb site, is in Solarium. Might try and get a bit cheeky. Find 1 or 2 picks here. I think they're aware of this position. Oh, they certainly are now. They've got a buck below as well. That's I-Thought. Pushing up through Solarium. Not a care in the world. Gets a swing onto Mephisto, who's just not ready. That's a trade from Spraxy. Needs to be aware of the player inside of the bedroom. Indeed is. Gets a pre-fire, but nothing more than a couple bullets of damage taken away. 50 seconds gone. 2 players dead. And this round looks to be explosive. Avoid are going to want to just slow things down. Make sure that the attackers run down that clock. That's indeed what's happening. Royal taking their time. They don't need to rush things here. They've got plenty remaining on that round timer. So they're just going to drone, collect some information, gather some intel on where the remaining defenders might be playing. We've got 3 up on this top floor. Spraxy is definitely going to be in that power position. The nade does come through, though. Is going to clear away that shield. Takes away a lot of health from Spraxy as well. That blue stairs position now becomes a lot more dangerous. The nade actually bounces down, finds Hypnose instead. Flawless so trades. Takes down I-Thought, who's having a ridiculous game. 13-7. The 2 top fraggers for each of the teams, finding kills onto each other. Quite a lot in this game. And again, we're in that man equal situation. As soon as I say it, cast a curse. Flawless takes down Maxi. Which means Royal are in panic stations. The ADS clears away the air jab. It's going to make it impossible to protect against that flank except with a gun. But it's LQ who takes one down. Flawless going to have to rotate away. That top floor control now surrendered. And Spraxy gets taken out. He was so low anyway. Flawless is going to need to clutch this. We saw a clutch the last time. And there's one, but not the second. LQ shuts it down with a bearing 9 in hand. And yet again, this ping-pong of round wins. Back and forth all the way. So we head to kitchen dining now. But not before a timeout from Team Avoid. Well needed, you can see the pattern. Continuing both ways, even if it goes to max OT. Royal just need 1 round to keep their hopes of playoffs alive. That's all they need. Wargaming yet again for a void. Both these teams running these sites back when they get into a spot of bother. So Kitchen eludes us for now. We head back. Flawless yet again on the Frost. I think it's Mephisto, the only one that's changed, is now playing on the Wamai. It's unfortunate though for Royal that they're in this situation. Avoid as well. Very nearly had another clutch go their way. Very nearly had that 6th round on the board, get their first points of the season. As it stands, Royal could still rip that away from them. The timeout, an opportunity to clear their heads. There's an opportunity to talk things through with themselves, with possibly support staff in the background. Envision is going to be able to clear that bulletproof inside a fireplace, so that's important information taken off the board quickly for a void. And this time the attackers can get through to Master without a hitch. No roam going through. Instead, avoid choosing to have more of their defend choosing to have more of those defenders concentrated towards the bomb site, towards the objective. That's still not going to help Mephisto. Opening death yet again. And I'm unsure as to where that was. Possibly down below. Inside a kitchen, as these does seem most likely. Inside of that 90 corridor, Maxi finds a second. Spraxi falls. And the pattern might just change. Hypnos does chase the kill, but Maxi gets away just in time. 1 minute, 2-player advantage. Royal looks set to claim a point here. Keep their playoff hopes alive. The Toxic Babes do come through. Mr. Bucks and I-Fort in kissing distance, but it's Envision who finds that kill. Hypno's now in a 1 versus 5. The cusp of a flawless round for Royal. As a flashbang comes through. Indeed it will be. Pistol Whip comes through from Envision. The streak has been broken, and not in a way that you would want if you're an Avoid player. It all comes down to Wine Cellar and Garage. Royal are not out of things just yet. Not for this season at least, and certainly not for this game. But attack just slightly more favoured on Chalet, and that might just bite them in the bum. Inside of this match, they were doing so well. Even got to 5 rounds first. But possibly pressure just getting to them a little bit. Obviously, I can't put words in their mouth, but... So, like I said, it all comes down to this. The basement bomb site. We've seen a 2 versus 4, I think it was, coming through from Avoid the last time they won here. A lot of clutch moments coming through from this roster that have actually enabled them to win these rounds. And Mephisto going back onto that Mozzie. We did see it work. It's just whether they can do it again. That's the question here, and it needs to be answered. We might be going to overtime. A Void might get their very first round. But that confidence has to be shattered a little bit. Royal have now won 2 rounds in a row, the only team in this game to do that. And that's certainly not going to help. I thought takes down Flawless up on the top floor. And that's a massive advantage for Royal. Top player for a Void taken out. Every other player on this team is negative. Spraxy is going to have to try and go for something. Drone spots him out. And now it's looking pretty difficult to play in this position. Going to have to drop back. But isn't aware of the player in car garage. Maxi collects and it's all falling apart. It's all crumbling for the blue team. Team Void, as that's Invision finding one. At least Mr. Bucks gets a kill. But now he's the only one left. Gonna have to ace in a 1 versus 4 to do this. Just rushes out. Finds the first, actually. And manages to get away. Spots the player drop. But won't be able to get anything more. Baresh closes things down. And it's Royal. 7 rounds to 5. They claim 3 points. And more importantly, they're now on 5 points. Overtaking Quintex. And 1 step closer to maybe, just maybe, getting to that playoffs position. And Void, we've seen them fall short. And they've done so again. It's tough. Really tough. Still on 0 points. It's an unfortunate situation. And they're going to be feeling especially miffed about that one. They had it in the bag. And then Royal come through with 3 rounds in a row just to end things right then and there. And that means, yeah, Void still in 8th place at the bottom of the leaderboard. Royal overtake Quintex to jump into 6th spot. They're on 5 points. Eagle Empire on 9. But crucially, Royal still have an opportunity to claim 6 more points. That's a total of 11 points. That would put them in 3rd currently. So it's all to play for in the next 2 weeks. But that's all it's going to be for tonight. I've been Uncooked Pasta, and spectating and producing alongside me has been the wonderful Hot Nuts. I hope you get better, my friend. I know that you've been under the weather today, so it's all good. It's been a fun day. 2 games under the belt. But that's all we have time for at ESA for today. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you for another chock-full day of Rainbow Six Siege action. Goodbye.